Hello there, and welcome to the Falsely Accused Network podcast. Falsely Accused Network supports anyone falsely accused of domestic abuse in England or Wales. If you've been falsely accused of domestic abuse, then you're free to call our helpline, which is 0204 538 8788, or email support@falselyaccusednetwork.co.uk, or visit our website www.falselyaccusednetwork.co.uk. We can link you up with legal professionals, whether it's a criminal case or a family law case. And if you're on a lower income, we can get you help with a Mackenzie friend. We have a dedicated mental health counsellor who can help you get through this, and we do have a private support group. Today's podcast is in conjunction with another organisation that I founded and head up, which is Paternity Fraud UK. Paternity Fraud UK is the only organisation in the United Kingdom that supports anyone affected by paternity fraud. If you do require our support with paternity fraud, our email is paternityfrauduk@gmail.com, or our website is www.paternityfrauduk.org. If you have been affected by paternity fraud, then please do contact us and we will help you through that. So, welcome back to the Falsely Accused Network podcast in conjunction with Paternity Fraud UK. Today's episode is one of the most significant we've ever done. We're talking about a form of deception that's devastated lives, but still isn't recognised as a crime in its own right: paternity fraud. Our guest today, Ryan Hampson, knows that pain firsthand. Earlier this year, his former partner Beth Fearnley was convicted at Liverpool Crown Court after forging DNA results to convince him he was the father of her child. And Ryan has very kindly and very bravely agreed to come on today's podcast and share his story. So Ryan, thanks for being here. And before we get into the events themselves, could you tell our listeners about who you are, your background and your life before all this?
Yeah, thank you first of all, Mike, for letting me come on.
Thank you.
So yeah, my name's Ryan. So prior to all of this, life was great. Life was really great. I had a very good childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Knuckled down in school,
Mm-hmm.
and went through all of this. And yeah, it was. I was really wanting to achieve things.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of goals and visions that I really wanted to excel in and achieve. And yeah, it was seriously something that I really wanted to focus on. My life was just so important to me.
And you work in IT, you're an IT specialist,
I do,
aren't
yes.
you? For a very large insurance broker.
Yes.
And you enjoy your job very much, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, they've been brilliant. Yeah. They're really good. I've been there for, I think it'll be 10 years next year.
Mm-hmm.
I would have worked there. So
So you let go of a job for life. There,
yeah.
Ryan, that's it.
Yeah. At the moment, very comfortable. So yeah.
So what was life like back in just before the pregnancy? What was the background there?
Yeah, so me and Beth have been together for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
Before this, I think it was probably our fifth year, roughly,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 6. So it was pretty positive, but before the pregnancy, I started having a few suspicions earlier on that something wasn't quite right. I didn't know what that was at that time, but I just felt like something.
Did you suspect before the pregnancy that she was cheated on you? Is that, or you weren't sure?
That was my suspicion. Yeah.
So, where did you first meet Beth? I mean, you said 5 years. So I'm assuming it's at school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what drew you to her?
We got on very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of them high school things. So you meet someone in high school, you think, why give it a go?
Yeah.
And yeah, the rest is kind of history.
Yeah. Was it what kind of relationship did you have early on? Was it steady, loving? Was it complicated? Was it good, bad?
Complications were there.
Complicated, okay.
Very, very, very early on, complications were there.
May I ask what they were?
They were just, everyone has bickers in relationships and stuff, and there was a few things that I might have done, and there was a few things that she done, and we both aren't saints for that. But we managed to push through it, and
Excellent.
we were getting through that stage, and that's why we were together for so long.
Yeah. And were there any warning signs or issues of trust before the pregnancy? So you did actually just sort of earlier indicated before the pregnancy you had a suspicion. Was there any more? When I'm trying to go with this is, did she exhibit any signs of dishonesty, maybe in her work or anything else? Was there anything that you could remember?
Not that I could quite remember at that moment. It was still had a lot of suspicions around the someone who she used to be friends with.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of like that. It weren't in terms of work or anything like that. It wasn't necessarily that.
Yeah.
It was more around the people that she was hanging around with at the time.
Okay.
Me, because we were going back a few years. We didn't have a house together or anything, so we were separated.
Yeah.
I was living at my mum's and she was living at her dad's. So it was just when we were doing our own thing.
Yeah.
It was what she was doing, and that was where this kind of suspicions come about. So
this friend, we suspected maybe or may not be, because people that commit adultery, if you like, don't ever admit it unless they're really caught red-handed. So it is a tricky thing to do. So let's go to the pregnancy, when you found out about the pregnancy. If you could just let us all know what happened, when it was.
Yeah. So.
And the dates as well, if that's okay. If you put the dates in there.
I mean, so going back to probably around February time, we were actually split for a brief period.
Sorry, can I just ask which year that was? February?
Oh yeah, so this was February 23. This was no, sorry, not 23. 2019.
2019, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm losing track of
It's okay.
years now.
It's okay.
So going back to 2019, in February, we did briefly split, and I was ready to move on with my life. We kind of, it was kind of like a mutual agreement to split. Partly was because of the suspicions, but I couldn't prove anything.
That's right,
So we split, and that was
Did you ever challenge her about your suspicions?
I did. I questioned it, but she was denying it.
Completely denied?
Yeah, she completely denied it.
Yeah, it's usually the case. Yeah.
So as we carried on, about 3-4 weeks later, she then informed me that she was pregnant.
So this is March.
So this is probably the end of February. So it was very early on when we
20...
split, and you're talking like end of Feb, early March, maybe. So I got told that she was pregnant, and she informed me, but she was adamant that it was the person who I had suspicion of.
Yeah.
And she was completely adamant that it was his.
So just so we all understand this, she tells you she's pregnant. She tells you you're not the father. It's Mr. A another.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So what happened after that?
So then, a couple months later, you're probably talking about May 2019.
Yes.
So 2 months had gone by.
Yeah.
And by the way, when this was pointed to me, I was devastated by the fact, because I always wanted to be that.
Yeah, I get that.
I wanted to be that father and have that child. So in May, she told me that she wanted to meet up with me because she needed to talk to me. So I was like, right, okay. So I agreed to meet up with her. We went to a pub local in Warrington, where I live. And she sat me down, and then she told me that the child is in fact mine. She done DNA tests with the
Mr. A another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they come back saying that he wasn't the father.
Wow. Okay.
So then, obviously, me questioning why she was so adamant.
Yeah.
You know, back in February, why you were so adamant to say that it was definitely his and not mine, put me in a lot of pressure and a lot of doubts.
Yeah.
So I said that I wouldn't continue until she actually done a DNA test. Now, I let her do it on her accord.
Yeah.
She told me about this DNA company. They were called Easy DNA. She told me what test she was going to do, and they were a legit company.
Yeah.
They were doing a non-invasive test, which is what she wanted to do. And it was about £860 for this non-invasive test, which was extreme. But if that was what she wanted to do, then so be it. I contributed £300 towards that test.
Okay.
And I gave her the money for it, and I let her go and organise it.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say you trusted her at that point? You know, it was just, you've been told you're going to be a father. She says, look, I can prove it. You will do this prenatal test.
Yeah.
So you just went, there you go, there's £300, let's verify it. I mean, that was very sensible by you to at least ask for a DNA test. It really was. Was, yes.
For sure. I did believe it because, you know, if someone's saying they're going to do this and this and they can prove it, you wouldn't think twice.
Exactly.
So I went for it and I went, yep. And I was like, you know what? It is a lot of money. She told me that she'd done the same test with the, you know, Mr. A, you know. So because of that, to me, she already paid 800 odd quid. Why am I going to let her pay 1,600? So I thought decency is to just contribute a little bit to it. So I done that. Those results come back. She actually sent them me via WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
It was just a WhatsApp message, and they told me that I was 99.9% the father.
And how did that make you feel when you were saw those results, and you're going to be a father, and you wanted to be? How did it make you feel?
I was really, really shocked. I was really surprised. I remember the moment, but I embraced it, and I took it on, and you know, I was very nervous at first. It would have been my first child. There was a lot of excitement, a lot of nervousness, but it was a nice feeling to have at that moment, and it was really something that, as I say, I did embrace it and I took it on.
And at the time, you were living with Mum, is that right? And was she living with her parents as well? Am I right?
She was. Yeah.
So, what steps did you take then to start providing for the child? What happened then?
So we were still separated at that time. So, you know, we were still we'd kind of speak regularly. I'd have catch-ups with her and stuff and make sure that she's all right. The idea was at first from my part is maybe we just look at co-parenting and go down that route. But in terms of, like, you know, purchasing prams and stuff like that, we were doing it together still. So it was kind of like the relationship wasn't there and we weren't officially together, but we were close enough that we can build a connection and build a relationship, you know.
If you cast your mind back to that 2019 when you found out pregnant, and then were you excited to become a father?
Yeah. I really was.
What in particular was it that you were thinking, I'm great, this is going to be good, this?
I think it's just the fact that, and my mum will vouch for me here, but I have said all my life that one of my dreams is to have a family. Yeah. That was a goal of mine. And when I was talking earlier about goals and achievements that I wanted to have in my life, that was up there with one of them, as well as buying a house. Yeah. And that was just very early on in my life. There are so many more now, but just the fact that was one of my goals, that's what made me just so excited, the fact that it was happening, you know.
Thank you very much for that section. So Ryan, let's go to the child's birth. So around September 2019, take me your recollection of the child's birth.
It was it was truly incredible to witness that moment of your first child being born. You just can't describe it. It was unbelievably overwhelming. The emotion that you have, you know, you just have so much joy and happiness. I remember holding her, and you know, we were kind of having that skin to skin contact, right. And you know, I was just I was crying my eyes out with it all, just normal, because of how emotional it was to witness that. It was just an unbelievable experience. Absolutely incredible. I loved it.
And it was, if I remember correctly, you did buy a house, didn't you? So was that rekindling the relationship? Was it? Did it sort of start again? Is that what you did? Is that what you decided to try and make a go of it again?
Yeah. So probably about a couple weeks, probably about 2 weeks, I would say. Within the 2 weeks, you know, baby was born. I decided to stay with Beth. And we actually lived at her father's house for a bit. So I was off on paternity leave, and I wanted that time with my child as well. And you know, we kind of had a lot of discussions, and we decided to rekindle the relationship for the sake of we have our family. And it wasn't until about probably 5 or 6 months later, it was literally about a week before we went into lockdown, that was when I moved into the house. So it was a pretty fast paced move, really.
And in those early days, let's talk about your relationship with the child. How was that going?
Incredible. Really incredible. I loved every single moment of it. You know, I'd done so much for her, and even though that I was busy working a lot and I was providing for the family, I just knew that coming home and seeing her face just put a smile on my face every time. We spent every day with each other, and it was just something that, you know, I wanted, and I was solely invested into that relationship. I loved her to pieces.
And how did your family bond with the child? Was that a good close relationship as well? My mum and my dad absolutely loved her. Everyone in my family loved her. She had a lot of good support on my side of the family. And I would make sure that she would regularly visit all of the family as well. So, you know, the contact of the relationship, she wasn't just building a relationship with me, she was building it with everyone. Because the child's been told that you're the father and this is the family, and psychologically and emotionally, those bonds are very powerful. Very, very powerful for the child, but also for us as well. So a question I do need to ask is, early on, when the child was, you know, baby and growing up, did you ever have any suspicions that you might not be the father, or was it totally blindsided as we get into it? Can you remember?
So probably about 2 or 3 months, I had a chat with my mum, and I was having suspicions that, you know, the baby could be autistic, and I started questioning. I remember I used to say it quite a lot, but it never bothered me too much. But I did used to say, she doesn't look anything like me.
May I add to that?
Yeah.
Because people who may or may not know, I'm a victim of paternity fraud too. I remember a similar thing in my mind. That I remember looking at the child and thinking, this child looks absolutely nothing like me. I could see the resemblance to the mother. It was there. And I just explained it away. I thought, oh, the child just looks more like mum. So where I'm going with this is, what sort of... You did notice that the child didn't look like you. What was it you told yourself about this situation that you were going through? Because you've had a DNA test that says you're definitely the father. You've got a child who you're beginning to think doesn't look like me. So what was the conversation you had with yourself that carried on?
You've just hit the nail on the head there and then. So I had the DNA test.
Yeah.
Told me that I was the dad.
Yeah.
And even though that the baby now looks more like mum, she still has time to develop.
Yeah.
Right? And people understand that babies might look like one person but not the other. But you
that's absolutely correct. And I think anybody who's interested in paternity fraud, something we discovered is that looks alone actually isn't the best way, because certain children can look more like mum, can more look like dad.
Yeah. So
looks alone isn't the best thing, unless there's a very obvious racial difference. Looks alone isn't the best barometer, believe it or not. And I don't know if have you ever watched the paternity court programs, the American. It's a program where it's where paternity disputes are in like a courtroom. And have you ever seen that?
So I've seen a couple of clips.
And even the judge in those things says looks alone. I must have watched hundreds of episodes. Yeah. Looks alone isn't the best barometer.
No.
And I know, and this is a warning I would say to people as we get into this. Be careful of just relying off looks, because you could have a child that doesn't look like you, but actually is.
Exactly.
Actually is.
Exactly.
So, you did notice a resemblance issue, but you had that DNA test that said you're the father, so you carried on and being the child's father. Was there any other things that didn't sit with you other than that you can remember?
Not necessarily, no. Not in relation to that. It was just mainly the fact that I was asking a lot of questions. I did want to... She was doing some certain characteristics as well that I used to do when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
So because of that was also kind of settling my mind that she could be as well, and the main reason that I carried on with this is because I did have that paternity test.
Yeah. You're not thinking that you got a piece of paper that was you're the father.
Yeah.
And that was very powerful. What would have kept you in there. Thank you very much. So Ryan, we get to April 2021, and up until then, you've been the child's father.
Yeah.
Hands-on father, actively involved in the child's life. You did notice a resemblance issue, but as far as you were concerned, the DNA test, you're the father, so it was pushed to the back of your mind. I would have imagined. So take us to the events of what happened in April 2021 and how this all unravelled, please.
I remember this day very, very clearly. It was on a Sunday. I used to play football. I ran a football team in Manchester.
Oh, okay.
So I went and played the match. Probably that day as well. Don't know what it was about that day, but I played probably my best football of my whole career in adulthood. That day. I come home and I was really, really made up with how I performed, and then I come home to a hand-delivered letter.
Hand-delivered, so did Beth just pop round with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she gave me this letter,
Mm-hmm.
and it was from the so-called Easy DNA company.
Okay.
So I looked at the letter, and the letter stated that there was I can't remember word for word, but it basically mentioned that there was a laboratory error.
Okay.
With the first prenatal test that I'd
Yeah.
done back in 2019.
So you've got this letter. It's saying there's an indication that there's a potential problem with that first DNA test. Can you just describe to the viewers and listeners out there how that made you feel?
You know what? At that time, I actually turned around and I went, okay, there is a laboratory error, but I have the prenatal test that said that it was mine. I have to go and do another test.
Yes.
But surely if it's come back saying that I was the dad, I was more than happy to try and go, go and do this again.
Yes.
And not only that, at first I was more angry at the DNA company for sending me said letter. It wasn't until a few moments after that I questioned her about it there and then, and I said, well, you've given me the DNA paternity test. It told me that I was 99.9% the father. You haven't slept with anyone else because you haven't told me and admitted anything, so I must be the dad. I've never seen someone's face drop so quickly. And it turns out that she lied to me about sleeping with Mr. A.
Yes.
And he was in fact, she actually told me at that point that she'd kept this secret, that she actually slept with someone else, and she never bothered to mention it to me around the same time that she told me that she was, she was pregnant and I was the father.
In your opinion, and it's only an opinion, because we can't mind read, why did Beth all of a sudden do this, do you think? I mean, it beggars my understanding why to do it in the first, the fake DNA test and lie like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in our dealings with paternity fraud cases, generally speaking, the women, once they tell the lie, they never admit until the court. So it sounds like she was trying to unravel this. What do you think was the catalyst for this? And again, it's your opinion. We don't know for sure. Without asking her, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, when I went back to what I was saying earlier about, I questioned whether the baby was autistic. Mm-hmm. She would have had to have complete tests for that. I was really, really pushing because the child was struggling to speak.
Okay.
And I really questioned the fact that she could have been autistic, and I wanted the test to be completed because I was a concerned father.
Of course, yeah.
But I was getting shut down.
Yeah.
And I never questioned why I was getting shut down.
Yeah.
She just told me that she was too young.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of me pushing that, and again, this is just my opinion, I think that the reason that she told me is because if we did go through with them tests, the whole biological secrecy would come out. So
again, I'm not a doctor or anything, so you would have probably, when you did this research for that autism, is that would they do genetic testing? Is that what they do?
Yeah, so I think they would they would take samples.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that it could come out, at some point. I don't know.
Oh, that's what she thought. Maybe she thought that. Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe she, when you were pushing for the autism test, she thought, oh my God, this might come out. I better do. Is that what? So this is the theory. Okay.
That's the theory, and that's my theory about what I think was going on in her mind.
Yeah.
but I don't know the full extent of how you even get tested for autism or anything like that. So I didn't know what to expect.
I wouldn't have thought that they'd do a paternity test. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor. If anybody in the comments underneath, let us know how they do that. So there's a theory. We think that maybe this started to unravel because she was worried about these tests for autism, which may or may not have come out that you weren't the father. So, what happened after that?
So what happened was we waited for another test. So we went and done a...
Who arranged that test? Was that her or you?
So she did it first.
Okay.
So she went back to the Easy DNA company to do the test. So you kind of question it.
The same one. If they made a mistake,
exactly.
you'd go to another one, surely.
Yeah. We waited about a week, I think it was, up to a week or two, and they come back saying that I was 0% the dad.
Was that an email you received?
I think it was an email. Yes.
Can you take us back to how you felt when you opened that email?
Devastated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I remember when I got my email, I felt like I'd been shot in the. It was a strain. I felt like I was shot in the stomach.
Yeah. I just felt lost more than anything.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in a dream and I couldn't get out of this nightmare sort of thing. I honestly just couldn't believe it. I was so devastated, and I couldn't stop getting upset for a very long time.
Yeah. Did you confront Beth?
I did.
What did she say?
So I just told her that we need to let the biological dad know.
Yeah.
Because I said it was the right thing to do. He deserves to know, and so does the child.
Yeah.
So we went. So she messaged him, and told him and asked him to do the test, and he done the test, and it come back saying that he was the dad. But when this happened, I just want to say that one day I was working from home because bearing in mind all of this was in the middle of like lockdown. It was kind of like we were coming out of lockdown, but we were still
in out.
Yeah,
we were.
It was a weird situation for everyone, really. But I was working from home because I predominantly worked from home, but while COVID was obviously happening, and her father turned up one day, and she obviously told him about, Ryan's feeling really down because he's just found out, and I didn't think about it then, but he told me not to tell anyone for a couple of weeks, to kind of let it sink in. And I don't really know why he kind of said that at first, because all I wanted to do was I was just so confused by it all that I wanted to go and tell my family, because they deserve to know, but I actually carried it on.
So he didn't want you to even tell your mum?
As far as I'm aware, no.
He wanted that to be a secret from your family.
Yeah.
Wow, that's extraordinary.
I kept it a secret for about 2 weeks when I found out.
Oh my Lord, how did you...
My head was spiralling. I constantly worked from home.
Yeah.
I was raising a child that I've just found out that wasn't mine. I was really, really angry with the fact that I was still in the house with her. Like, I was so angry when I found out. I could have taken everything out on her. Was
the anger... I've got to be careful leading you. Who were you angry at?
Her.
Yeah.
100%. Because you know what it was? It was betrayal.
Yeah.
if you ever go through something like that, the feeling that you have, knowing that you put trust into that person and they betray you the way that they've done, but not only because they decided to cheat on you, but they've essentially taken your child away from you, is a different feeling. And it's cruel, it's evil, and no one should ever have to go through that.
Paternity fraud, our legal sponsor Shakanayat from Penn Chambers, and he when he contacted Paternity Fraud UK, he said to me, he said in his 30 years of working in family law, this is the area that absolutely riles him. And he says, you know, paternity fraud is an abomination, and it really is, isn't it? It's an abomination. There's no room for paternity fraud in a civilized society, in my opinion.
No,
absolutely
not. No.
So, 2 weeks you kept this huge secret from your own mother, who I know you're very close with, and the rest of your family. I know you're very close family. Tell us about when you told your mother for the first time. Tell us if you can remember what you can remember from that.
So I went to the office. I was working. It was a Thursday night. Probably about 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks after I found out, and a couple of the lads from the office just went, you know, let's go and have a couple of drinks after work. You know, we'll just have one or two and then we'll go home. Yeah. So I went, right. So I went out, and honestly, within those 2 weeks, because I was with them, they were cheering me up, and I felt.
And they didn't know though,
but they didn't know.
Yeah.
And I like I say, I didn't tell anyone. And there's a reason where I'm going with this.
Sure.
So I actually broke down in front of one of my mates who I worked with.
Yeah. That's understandable, Ryan. You know,
and I told him I didn't want to go home. That's what I told him. That was my own home. And I told him I didn't want to go home. And he was asking why. And I told him. And I honestly, I crumbled. I just broke down. I crumbled. I didn't know what to do. And and this is where I say kudos to him, because he is a really, really good lad for doing this, because he helped me.
What's your friend called?
He's called Luke. And he knows who he is.
Yeah, Luke. No, thank you, Luke.
Yeah. And he actually encouraged me to step forward.
Yeah.
And go and tell my mum.
Yeah.
And I did the following day, as soon as, because it was a bit late, and you know.
You had a drink.
I had a drink, and I did go the following day after work.
Yeah.
And I told her that I told Beth that I'm going to my mum's, and I'm going to stay there for a little bit, just while I go and have a talk with her.
Process. Yeah.
And I told her, and I couldn't even get my words out without crying. Yeah. That's how devastating it was. My mum was completely devastated. Yeah. My whole family were devastated, and the impact that it has on someone is just unbearable. The emotion, it's very overwhelming.
Oh yes.
And it made me feel so isolated that I didn't even want to speak to my family.
Yeah.
And I would literally lock myself in a room in my mum's house, debating all sorts of things.
Because we're on YouTube, we've got to be careful of certain words. Did the ultimate action come into your mind? Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Oh,
I did. I had those thoughts as well.
100%. And I think that's what my mum especially was very fearful of.
Yeah.
You know, I was living in her house at that time, and I just couldn't go a full day without smiling. You know, I did go a full day not smiling or not talking to anyone that I was just sat in a room, just cooped up, and just soaking it all in.
Yeah. What you've just described there is just, in my opinion, horrendous. You found out the child you'd be raising, you were led to believe via a DNA test, was yours, and then not yours, and you were told by Beth's father to keep it a secret. You were very vulnerable at that time. You may or may not have realised what you were. I genuinely, that must have been a massive impact on your mental health at that time. I can't put, and then you had those thoughts, we can't say, but I think people not watching and listening know what I mean. Thank you, Ryan, for sharing that.
Thank you.
So, Ryan, just to recap, you've been given a DNA test which said you were the father, and then Beth gave you a hand-delivered letter which said there was a lab error. Mm-hmm. You went and did another test and it said you weren't the father. So then you decided to investigate this on a much deeper level. Would you like to go into detail for the viewers and listeners about this next step, please?
Of course, yeah. So obviously telling my mum about the letter that I received and the DNA test that I done while the baby was present. Mm-hmm. We then decided to take another DNA test,
yep,
but without her involvement, and we done it through a different company too.
Makes sense.
To rule out everything.
Mm-hmm.
That test also come back 0%. So I knew, without a shadow of a doubt,
you're not the
I'm not the biological father.
Yeah.
So my mum actually contacted Easy DNA for me, mm-hmm, because I was in, like I say, I was locked in a room on my own, didn't want to talk to anyone. Mm-hmm. And we decided to raise this as a concern.
Absolutely.
And try to address this and get them to investigate it.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until maybe a few days later I had a phone call from them. Mm-hmm. And we already sent out the letter. Mm-hmm. We already sent out the prenatal results. Mm-hmm. And then that phone call told me that there was no record of me.
So they confirmed, Easy DNA, that first test that you were handed was fake. Pretty much.
That test in 2019 that I done was fake.
Tell me what went through your mind and how you felt when you found that out, that was fake. So it wasn't an error. It's gone from being an error, mm-hmm, to fraud. How did you feel?
I was so angry.
I bet you were.
So angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was livid.
I'm angry listening to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went straight round to confront her straight away. Mm-hmm. As soon as I found out.
Mm-hmm. And what was the reaction? So you would have put it to her that you've now discovered that first test actually never happened. What did she say to you?
So I went round and I told her that I'd got in touch with the company, mm-hmm, and they told me that it was fake. Mm-hmm. They actually told me that they think I was a victim of paternity fraud and that I should seek legal advice. Mm-hmm. So I went and told her this and I said, what is this about? You've got some explaining to do. And that's when she cried.
Okay.
Cried in front of me at first, but not because of what she's done or taking ownership of it. Mm-hmm. She then told me that she thinks she purchased it off the black market and that she didn't want to go to prison.
She even said in her own words, I don't want to go to prison. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I found out that over 4 years ago, and those words have stuck with my mind ever since.
So The next step, you went to Cheshire Police.
Mm-hmm.
Talk me through that, and you reported it, and the first investigation, please, Ryan.
I reported it to the police, and it was probably about a year, I would say a good 12 months later after finding out.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it took me so long is because I still had to comprehend what just happened and take into consideration. And I was very in denial at first, and probably not emotionally stable to go to the police about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did, they just gave me an officer who would probably just deal with day-to-day crimes, you know.
Yes.
Just general officers, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get much involvement at all from them. They were very, very quick to try and drop the case.
Just before we go much more into the police, you did contact me. It would have been in the summer of June. I remember your phone call like it was yesterday. I can even picture where I was still. How much did that help you when we spoke?
Massively. I thank you so much, mate, because
you're welcome.
The
was I would have been the first person or second. I think it's Liam you contact, or you may have had a brief dealing with first, but I might have been the first man you ever spoke to who's been through this.
You were the first person that I spoke to. My mum actually spoke to Liam.
Yeah.
I never had that direct contact with him.
Yeah.
And it was Liam that gave my mum your details. So that conversation that we had really, really did help me.
No, I remember it like it was yesterday, and I remember the disbelief of what I'd just when we did this, when you told me what happened. I remember the disbelief. Do you think that there's a bit of a taboo subject around paternity fraud before we move back into the criminal case? Do you think there's a taboo? I think there is as well, you know.
100%.
I think something that I think I can say, and sort of Ryan will probably echo, is that I want men out there who have gone through what we've been through to not feel ashamed or embarrassed.
No.
We're not the liars. We're not the con artists.
Not at all.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. And have you found people, when all this came out, supportive in your friends and community? Because I know I did. Not one person's ever laughed at me or said you stupid man, or you know.
Everyone when my story come out, everyone has been so supportive. People who I've not spoken to in years, and I mean probably going back to high school days, they have been so supportive.
Yeah.
I've even had messages to say, look, hope you get through it all, you know, and all these really nice supportive messages. I thank everyone for that 100%, because without them and that support and my parents, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah. And I think there's something we'd like to say here at this point. I'm sure Ryan will agree with me that if you are watching and listening to this podcast and you are a victim of paternity, affected in any way, please do contact us. And please don't feel ashamed. Please don't feel embarrassed, and you're certainly not alone.
As how hard it is, and don't get me wrong, you might feel really, really low at that point. Your mind plays so many tricks on you, and it will make you, you know, this situation degrades you as a human being in general, but you are better than that.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to keep telling yourself, that you can get through this. If I can, if Mike can, anyone else can. And we can all do it together. And
I need to say, I think there's something, again, we can both agree on, is that we've done nothing wrong. We were told a child was ours. On that information, we've gone and been the father of the child for similar, nearly 18 months, same for me. We found out we're not the con artists, we're not the liars. No. We were in there with good faith. We were conned. So the first investigation, you mentioned that it was a general police officer. This isn't something they come across every day, and let's give them some sort of leeway. What was the outcome of the first investigation?
They were going to drop it.
Okay.
And they didn't give me sufficient answers as to why they were dropping it, which didn't sit right with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't know why they were going to.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't feel that it was worthy enough to even continue with the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But this person's committed fraud, and
Yes.
and
On a monumental scale, Ryan.
and if it weren't for me actually fighting this, it's very scary that she could have got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference between her getting away with it and anyone else?
Exactly.
And that's the problem. And because there's not enough people that, because we get shut down as males, and people that are impacted by it, if you get shut down straight away, no one's going to know what to do with it.
There is a bias against men, and I think we need, as a society, to face up to that. And I did an article recently about romance fraud. And what romance fraud is when these men, typically it's a man targeting a woman, but it can work the other way around. And they'll lead the woman into believing that there's some sort of high successful businessman and whatever else, but they're actually con artists and con these poor people out of money. And I've noticed massive press campaigns about that at the moment. I've heard radio adverts, I've seen it on the internet. Yeah, I say paternity fraud has a huge similarity between that, but we don't get anything.
No.
It seems to be, oh my god, let's brush it to one side.
To me, that's just as important.
It is.
And the awareness of paternity fraud, it does happen.
Yes.
It happens more frequently than people realise. It's been going on for generations.
Of course it has.
And that's where now, if this has been going on for so long, everyone talks about mental health. This is mental abuse.
Yes.
We are at a day and age where mental health is just so important to everyone now that we need to make changes.
Yes, we do. So the first investigation, there was no further action, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you and we'll hear from your mother Claire in the next part of this podcast. You weren't happy with that, and rightfully so. So what happened then?
We decided to go to our local MP.
Mm-hmm. Who was that at the time?
It was Andy Carter of
Andy
the Conservative.
Carter.
Yes. And we actually had a surgery with him. And we went and told him what happened, and he was devastated. This story hits home, and everyone who goes through paternity fraud and has their own experience of it, it hits home no matter what.
Yeah.
And it certainly did to Andy. And Andy even turned around and said, "No, this is fraud."
Of course it is.
Clear as day. I had all of the evidence. I had everything. So he decided to contact Cheshire Police, and he decided to get this investigation reopened. And that was only because we went to the MP. That was when it was actually provided to a CID officer.
Excellent. So the CID officer reviewed all the papers. Probably, I'm going to assume, interviewed you again, perhaps.
Yeah.
What was his light bulb moment? Was he in agreement that the first police officer made the wrong decision?
100%.
Yeah. And what was this police officer's name that helped you? We'd like to give him some credit, please.
He's called Josh Darby.
Josh Darby from Cheshire Police.
Yeah.
Josh, thank you so much for what you've done for the Hampson family and for us paternity for our victims.
Yeah. He was absolutely fantastic. He, as soon as we told him and we sat down, he knew that we were telling the truth about everything. He could see all of the evidence that we had against this. And even though that paternity fraud is not well known, he done everything he could to push me through and to get me through to where I am today. Of coming out of that courtroom.
He would have then had to arrest Beth. And what feedback did she speak at an interview? Did she do a no comment interview? What was the outcome of her interviews?
I've heard that in her interviews she didn't speak the truth. So she didn't really say no comment, as far as I'm aware. But she was telling lies.
So she couldn't stop lying, this woman, can she?
So just to clarify, that there was 2 interviews that she done. Because she got rearrested and done another interview. And I actually heard from Josh himself tell me that she was telling one lie in the first interview and then another lie in the second.
Usually the case.
So she couldn't even keep up to date with what she was telling him. And that didn't bode well with him whatsoever.
So the second police investigation, Josh was quite happy that on the face of it there was a case for fraud by false representation. Pass that to the CPS. What happened then?
The CPS at first, they shot me down.
Really?
They didn't think that there was enough to take it through, even though I had all of the evidence and it was clear as day.
To be fair to the Crown Prosecution Service, again, this is a rare case. It really is. But do you think there may have been a bit of bias, thinking it was a woman doing it, and we don't want to go? I'm worried we are speculating there, I suppose.
Yeah, I can't comment on why, but one of the points that they were saying was that they couldn't actually prove as to whether she was doing it for financial gain.
Of course she was.
But the way that I see it is, if you look far beyond that, there was kind of like 4 criteria. I can't remember the full criteria as to what it meets, but it met 3 of them out of the 4. And because of this one where she was doing it for financial gain,
they weren't sure.
They weren't sure whether to take it. But it hit majority of the criteria.
I thought about this, and ultimately paternity fraud usually is about financial gain, because they want the women that do this want provision, they want to be provided for. So I would say that the CPS really didn't think that through.
No.
Now, you appealed the Crown Prosecution's decision not to charge her. Talk us through that.
So what we did was the police done an appeal first. That also got turned away.
Oh wow.
So there was my first one, there was the police appeal, and then I done a victim's right to review. And rather than making it about, because realistically I could have turned around and said, I want my money back from all of the years that I pumped into this. But I weren't bothered, and I don't care about the money, because this isn't about the money. This is about the situation that I was put in, and to make sure that no one ever goes through something like that again. So in my victim's review, I made it out that the actions that were done is a form of abuse.
It is.
And I made it out that I am not bothered about the money, because I will not be taking any sort of steps to get that money back. I know that that's gone, and I've accepted that. But I want her to take accountability for what she has done.
That appeal that you and your mother made was successful. She would have been rearrested, or then a summons sent to her. How did you feel when the CPS finally relented and charged her?
I was relieved. I was I felt like someone was listening to me finally, because it took me so long. I know Josh done a very, very good job, but even still, his appeal got shut down. And I just felt like no one was taking this seriously, because in the end, I've done nothing wrong.
No.
And all I'm doing is fighting my way through this. And you know what? It took me years to fight through all this, and it shouldn't. I do think that, and this is just my opinion, if I had done this, I generally think I would be. It would be a lot quicker to put me behind cells.
There has been cases where men have faked or doctored DNA tests when it comes to child support.
Yeah.
And they've been jailed for that. In a heartbeat. But when it's the other way around, and it's a woman, the excuses come out, and maybe this people may not like what I'm about to say, but the system is very biased against men. So, April this year, Liverpool Crown Court, I was with you. How did it feel that watching her in the dock, and she actually did plead guilty in the end? I know there was some applications to try and get the case thrown out, but then ultimately she did plead guilty. How did it feel? That was the first time you probably saw her in ages.
Yeah.
How was that?
I had a lot of mixed emotions there. But actually seeing her in that little space, it was a bit daunting, because, like you say, I've not seen her for years, and I've seen her through court cases, but that's it. And seeing her in person, I just thought, why did it just take all of this, and why would you go through the effort to do this? Why are we even in this room? Right,
so unnecessary. That's a thought. I myself and a lot of paternity fraud victims say it's so unnecessary. Don't need to lie about this.
100%.
It's not the 1940s anymore. You know, it's you know, all that stigma's gone. I mean, it was so unnecessary, and I get where you're coming from there, because you're thinking, why are we here? Because all she has to do is just tell the truth at the beginning.
Exactly. And
why have I had to go through all this?
Yeah. And dragging me through this, and dragging my family through it, and it was just so uncalled for that she should just have taken responsibility of what she'd done and just come clean. And that's why I got a lot more thrill out of it when I was reading my victim impact statement.
I remember listening to your victim. I was there in Liverpool Crown Court with you, and that was a powerful speech.
Thanks.
And there was part of it where you said, and I think maybe a lot of male victims like you and I could certainly empathise with it, where you said in that speech about the thought of becoming a father, instead of it being a joyous event, fills you with dread. Yeah. Do you want to go into that a bit for us?
Because it feels more of a burden than a joy. And the reason for it is because you have just been so deceived throughout all of this. Like, I know people out there that are victims, they've had 1 or 2 children before that, and they're actually theirs, and then the third one or second or third one turns out not. But this was my first child. You know, this was something that I've always wanted. And it had just been taken away from me like that. And in the end, I'm grieving over a child who is still alive today.
Yes.
And the reason for that, we'll go back to me speech about saying that it feels more of a burden than of a joy. Well, that's why. You just don't know whether you are going to be able to father again.
I want to, or I mean, I've made a decision. I'm just living the rest of my life on my own.
Each to their own, because
there's no right or wrong
different.
response. There's no right. I've just decided I'm too damaged from it all, and I just wanted to stay on my own. But,
and that's your feelings and how that experience has made you feel. But in the end, mate, no one should ever make you feel like that.
During the plea mitigation, so people don't know what that means, is that so Beth Fearnley had pleaded guilty. Plea mitigation is when a defence barrister stood up and tried to mitigate the circumstances, and he didn't really have much really to go on, really, did he?
No,
that chap.
Really.
But he did say something interesting about, Beth had said, I'm going to have to paraphrase this, I don't want to say it word for word, that she felt like she was playing God or something along those lines. How did it make you feel when you heard that, when she's admitted she was playing God with people's lives?
I thought that, when someone tells you that after knowing what they've just done, that's not a forgivable thing. You don't turn around and say, well, I shouldn't have played God, because that just clear as day meant for me that you knew what you were doing from day one.
It's my belief with Beth Fearnley, my genuine belief and honest opinion, that she knew you weren't the father all along, and it's my belief that she got some sort of sick enjoyment from this.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's my genuine belief and honest opinion.
Yeah.
So she was sentenced to 13 months in jail, suspended for 18 months, and a period on, is it community service, I think what we call it these days. Do you feel justice was served that day? And please be really frank. I mean, my opinion is I think she should have gone to jail.
Yeah.
But what's your opinion? Are you satisfied, or?
I think in the end, all I was bothered about was her taking accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Her pleading guilty was what I wanted, because I know with the evidence that I had, she was behind it.
Yes.
The punishment was not. I've said it from day one. It weren't a big problem for me. It weren't something that I wanted or whatever. That was down to the judge in the end, and that he was going to give that final call. But for me, the fact that she took ownership and actually pled guilty, that's all I wanted.
Did you ever receive a personal apology from her?
No, not from her, not from her family.
I don't think any of us in our paternity fraud group have. I think one person has. The rest of us have never received an apology. Has she ever shown any remorse?
No, absolutely not. She was walking out of the courtroom, and she was smirking at her family and stuff. That's no remorse there at all.
I think it takes, in my opinion, a genuine belief, I think it's a very, very sick individual to do paternity fraud.
Massively.
Very sick. Ryan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Ryan, thank you for talking about the court case. And how has it been since the court case? So you did say in court that your world fell apart. But what does daily life look like now?
I feel like it's healing. Very slow. I am still in counselling and doing all of the counselling sessions to help rebuild my life. But I feel a lot more positive now that this weight is off my shoulder. Now I won't forget what happened to me. And I know for a fact that I still love that child 100%. There's always a piece that's
I was going to say, do you still think about the child?
100%.
Yeah. And how do you deal with that grief?
It's tough every day, but I haven't seen her for 4 or 5 years now. And
no, not bumped into
I've not
in a shopping centre.
No, surprisingly, no.
Do you live near each other still?
Yeah, we probably still live about 10 minutes apart from each other. Still in the same area.
And has this experience diminished your ability to trust people?
It's put me on edge with a few things.
I'm the same.
And you have more of an awareness of who you trust and who you don't trust. That always plays on my mind all the time, but you will always be a bit more reserved now after something like this.
It's very common, this. I mean, I have a similar issue with trust now with people. I'm always thinking, is this person up to something, and are they going to be? Is there a trick being played on me? Or it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
I even, because of what happened to me with letters and stuff, I even question letters sometimes.
Yeah.
I even question when a mail comes through my door. Is it fake? Is it real? You know.
I think something. I'll talk about myself here. Maybe this you may think the same. I just could never get my mind around how somebody could do this, and I think this is why we don't. This is why a lot of men do fall victim to this, because we don't think like these people, do we? No. You know, to me, it's unthinkable that you would con someone into believing a child is theirs. So therefore, I wouldn't do it. So I know. Why would somebody else? And that's something I think a lot of us struggle with. How could somebody do this? And that's why a lot of us fall victim to it, I think.
Yeah.
It's not, we just don't think it, do we?
You just, no, because I think any normal person wouldn't even put someone through this. So we wouldn't think about that at all. And again, it's the why do it?
Why?
You know?
It's so unnecessary now. It's in the past I thought long and hard about this. You know, you hear of cases, you know, in the 40s and 1950s when there was a stigma for there was no abortion available. There was a stigma about being a single mother at that time, and it's still wrong, but I can get my head round why someone may have done that then. But in today's modern era, there is no excuse for a woman to commit paternity fraud. There's no stigma of being a single mother. There's help available. No, it's just full stop. No, it's wrong.
And you're also damaging your own child's.
Yes.
You know, and it goes back to you're not just damaging someone else's life, but you're impacting your own child's life.
A child has been, if you could, and that's something we are keen at Paternity Fraud to emphasise, that the child is a massive victim here too. A child's been told that person A is the father when it's not, it's person B. Think of the damage. I mean, in our case, we were lucky that there were babies, so they're probably never going to remember us. We'll never forget them, but you know, they're going to at least have no memory of us. But you know, in our group, these these children that I found out when they were 8, 9, 10, older. I'd say to anyone, think of the impact on your child. What advice would you give to another man who suspects he might be in a similar situation?
If I was that person, I would reach out to us.
Yes, definitely.
Right. We are all victims of this, and more people, if you have the suspicions, to get the advice from Paternity Fraud UK.
Yes.
And it's important that you do that, because if it does prove that you are a victim of it, you're also getting the awareness out as well.
Yes.
To make this country and potentially globally, you're making the world a better place. Absolutely.
And I think just building onto that, anyone watching and listening who may have a doubt, coming through to Paternity Fraud UK, which is, I operate the helpline, but we do have a group as well, and we can speak to many other people there, is that we can go through your options, potential scenarios that may crop up, the legal side of it as well. We know we can help people sort of talk about declaration of parentage applications and birth certificates and what that means. So it is important, I think, even if you suspect, and I have helped people that I've suspected, and we've got them through, so do contact us. So we'll move on now to sort of like the wider impact and awareness of paternity fraud. Do you think most people understand what paternity fraud is?
No, and I think it's because it goes back to the fact that it's not well known. The fact that there's no crime around it.
There's no specific crime, is it? So it's like you had to rely on the Fraud Act to get a criminal prosecution over the line. You can apply for compensation for the civil courts, which is called a tort of deceit, which is a very, very fancy way of saying fraud. But there is no specific paternity fraud law, is there? That needs. And I think something you and I and the others in the group have discussed is that we see this as an actual form of abuse rather than a financial crime.
Definitely.
Because that's the law that the judges have to act with what's in front of them. So why do you think cases like yours and ours are rarely prosecuted?
I think it's quite hard to prove anything really unless you have sufficient evidence. I think that's a factor. But there are many factors, and I think it's just the case of when people come forward and raise this, if they're shut down straight away, no one's going to know what to do with these cases whatsoever. So it will go up the ladder, and as soon as you go to the CPS, they still won't have a clue as to what to do. I think it's all about the awareness side of things and actually raising these as concerns to the police, to your MP. If you are raising more noise about this situation, it's going to be more widely known.
Yeah, definitely. What message do you want to send to the public and to learn from your story?
That you're not alone in this. If you are a victim, come forward and I know how difficult it is, don't get me wrong. It took me a very long time to come out and speak about this. But you are not on your own with this. You can get through this. Yes. If I can, then certainly you can. And make sure that you go and speak up to your family and make sure that your family are involved, because they will support you. Family, friends, you need the people around you in this difficult time. Absolutely. And I think something I'm going to add on there is that a lot of people think this will never happen to them. If you'd have said to me, well, one day you're going to be a paternity father, you're having a giraffe. And I think this is something men need to be aware of, that this can happen to you. Yeah. But you're not a fool. If it happens to you, you may think all sorts of, you're not a fool for falling for it. We've been told with the father, and let's be frank, most women do not lie about paternity. If the paternity fraud rate's at 3%, 97% do not lie. Most women find paternity fraud appalling. But please, you need to be aware that this can happen to you. So we've already mentioned about paternity fraud isn't a specific criminal offence. So we'll move on to quite a bit of a controversial topic here now, is that, do you reckon or should there be mandatory DNA verification before a father's name is added to a birth certificate? 100%. Yeah. You know what it is I know that there'll be a lot of people that will think differently, and I totally respect that. That is your own opinion. But in my opinion, if you have nothing to hide, allow them. A common objection that you've come across, what have you come across to this mandatory DNA testing? The fact that I personally think that it'll come down to a human rights sort of thing. I would like it to be mandatory, because you find out there and then that who the father is, but you're not damaging any other person. You're not damaging the so-called father. You're not damaging the child. No. To me, that's their human rights. Absolutely. And that's the way I turn around and go, they deserve to know, because in the end it involves them and how their lives move forward. Exactly.
a common one I hear is similar to the human rights when they say, well, what about privacy? Our private, our DNA might end up in a database. That's easy to get round because it can be written in law that once the test results are done, it's the samples are destroyed.
Yeah.
Another one I've heard, I find this one the most ridiculous one, is a few people have said, well, it may cause domestic abuse in a relationship if a man finds out his partner's cheated. So by doing a DNA test, and I can't get my head around that argument.
So the way I see it is that if the person knew that they cheated,
mm-hmm.
then they have to come forward.
Yes.
You don't carry around lies
yes.
to cover up your mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You come out and you've got to remember that you're not only impacting who you are allegedly making the father, you are impacting the actual biological father
Absolutely.
too. And this could go one way or the other. And if I'm being honest, if you are going to do that and commit that, of course it's going to commit. Of course, domestic abuse could be a factor there, but that's why mandatory DNA testing will take that away.
The domestic abuse argument falls for me because it doesn't make sense. Because they say, well, the woman might be in a domestic abusive relationship, so if she tells the truth that their abusive partner isn't the father. And it all falls apart. It just doesn't make sense because you think, well, that would be good for it because you get away.
Yeah.
So that argument falls apart for me. And then another one is, and again I find this one fanciful, and I've had this debate, and they'll say, well, it'll break down the trust in relationships. If every child has a DNA test, then it breaks down the trust in a relationship. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that one?
I mean, the thing is, as a man, and as my experience, I put a lot of trust in my ex
mm-hmm.
at the time.
Well, we all trusted him, didn't we? Because we wouldn't have ended it, would we?
Exactly. So, in a way, I think there is a lot of points to take away from this where males do put a lot of trust in their female partners.
Mm-hmm.
If you especially if you've been with them for some time, right, and you've built that relationship with them, if they tell you that they're pregnant, you instantly think
Absolutely.
it's yours, unless there's some different circumstances, and everyone's different. But I think that the trust will always be there if you have nothing to worry about.
But if you got nothing to hide,
exactly,
and the trust issue, we get round it by saying, well, actually, it's going to be everybody. So we're not, we're not asking to pick on certain women. Now, we're saying it's every birth.
Everyone.
Quick DNA test at birth, comes back, father, and then everybody knows the truth. I cannot find an argument against. I cannot find a reasonable argument against it. And even maybe the strongest one was the privacy. And again, that could be written in law that these samples are destroyed. So back in September, you met with Sarah Hall, who's now your local MP, with some others. I couldn't make it. I was invited. I couldn't make it. I was at Falsely Accused Day. How did that meeting go, and what was discussed, and what your feedback from MPs so far?
Very positive, actually.
Excellent.
The meeting itself, I felt, was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after my court hearing, in April this year, probably about a couple of weeks later, we arranged a surgery with Sarah Hall, and since I've told her what happened, she has been really, really good, and she's felt really, really passionate about taking this a lot further. So when we had the meeting in September, along with a couple of other victims, we had the opportunity to just go over our situations, and we were talking about next steps, which mandatory DNA testing was mentioned.
Another thing you did bring up with Sarah Hall is that you would, and I'm totally, as a group, we've all discussed this, and we'll try and explain it to our viewers and listeners, is about seeing paternity fraud as well as a form of abuse rather than a financial crime. How important is that to you personally for it to be seen like that?
I think it goes over financial. As I said, the emotional toll that it has on you is so overwhelming that I think that will just take away all of the financial side. You won't even think twice about the finances. Yeah, finance is a very big factor of this devastating act, but the abuse that it has on an individual, and it makes you feel so little, that's what needs eliminating.
Yeah. It's what I think something I could really sort of emphasise, I'm sure you'd agree with me, is that paternity fraud has a long-lasting effect on everybody affected, not just us. We're the wrong fathers, if you like, and our extended family, and that's what we'll explore in part 2, is where your mother's going to come on and my mother's going to come on and talk about how it affects the extended family. So is there, before we finish, Ryan, when you look back at all this, what have you learned about yourself?
I'm stronger than what I thought.
I'd agree with that.
To go through something so devastating and so impactful on your life. This is by far, I know already, and I'm only 28, and I know that this is going to be the worst thing that I will encounter in my entire life. The fact that I've managed to pull through that, I think it makes me a very stronger person. And the support network that I have around me, that's what made me realise that I am very, very lucky of what I've got. Yes, it has its toll. It's very, very, it's a very overwhelming situation, and it hits home. But the fact that I'm here to carry on telling the story, raising the awareness, and trying to make a difference is all I can ask for.
If Beth were listening to this episode today, what would you say to her?
Do I need to?
Answer that question.
I just I don't really want to speak to her whatsoever. I don't want to raise
nothing. You say nothing.
Her.
Just nothing.
No, I just
nothing.
I just absolutely nothing. She's not even worth my time of day. For what she's put me and my family through, I really hope that she has sat there and she has trembled about what she has done.
I echo that. I think if my ex, who I can't name, spoke to her, I'd have nothing to say to her.
No.
They're not worth the
time of day.
The effort. And I hope, Beth, if she is watching this, I hope you really have some remorse for what you've done and the damage you've done to a lot of people. But I also hope you just don't do anything like this again. So, my final question, what gives you hope moving forward?
That I can actually carry on just living my life, Yes, it will still be there, and I get that, and it's something that I have to accept. My counselling sessions is really helping me rebuild my life, so I have a positive look moving forwards, and I encourage anyone to, honestly, counselling is a very, very good supportive tool. I just want to say, so if you are going through it and you feel like you need to talk to someone, reach out, go and get the counselling. It is worth it, and you'll have a positive outlook moving forward, as again the support network around you is so vital.
Absolutely.
So take it.
Absolutely, completely agree. And if anybody is requiring mental health support, False Accused Network has our own dedicated counsellor now. So you can contact the Falsely Accused Network and we can get you very reasonable prices as well. So Ryan, I just want to thank you for your honesty and bravery today.
Thank you.
What you share today, it isn't just a personal story. It's a wake-up call for policymakers, courts, but also society at whole. This has been a taboo subject for too long, and it's been hidden, brushed under the carpet. Many men don't want to talk about it, acknowledge it. I'm well aware there's probably men out there that have an inkling that the child they're raising is not theirs, and they love the child that much they don't want to face up to the truth. But we are, as an organisation, at Paternity Fraud UK and Falsely Accused Network, we'll carry on to campaign against paternity fraud and support anyone affected. So if you've been affected by paternity fraud or false allegations, you can contact the Falsely Accused Network, which is www.falselyaccusednetwork.co.uk. Our email is support@falselyaccusednetwork.co.uk. Or our phone number is 0204 538 8788. And we do have a dedicated paternity fraud website as well, which I'll give you those details, which is www.paternityfrauduk.org. Or our email is paternityfrauduk@gmail.com. Once again, Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Cheers.